Yes, 18. Hi, Adar Sheini. Yom Yom. Ready? Oops, I lost me. Okay. My grandfather, this is the Rebbe Maharaj, Frierdiker Rebbe speaking, grandfather Rebbe Maharaj, writes in one of his Maimorim, it is necessary to study the written Torah daily with Rashi's commentary, which is the truma, right? An offering, a truma. And the word truma, toroim. Toroim means lift. It's a future, if you translate it's a verb, to lift up. I will lift up. So truma is an offering, a lift up, which he teaches here. We have to offer the truma, a lift up, a high level, the selected most part of our meat, so to speak. Go to a butcher, right, and get the selected piece. So we have to offer the most select part of ourselves. So the commentary in Rashi, he says, is that choice piece of meat. It's the truma, the select of the interpretation of our sages. Of all the commentaries of all the sages, Rashi's is the most geschmack, the truma, the highest level. And at the very least, he throws in at the end, and at the very least, everyone must study a tractate of Talmud each year. I'm very happy with this. He doesn't say complete the tractate each year, because we've been in Chabura for many years. Once a week we meet on Shabbos afternoon, and we're going through the whole Shas. But we're not doing Daf Yomi, something I would love to do, but I don't have time to do. But go through the whole oral Torah. Okay, and with the schus of that little vort and what we're about to learn, let's hear Refuah Shleimus.
Elka Rachel Bas Aliza, Baruch Benjamin Ben Rachel Blima, Yehudis Golda Bas Aliza Hana, Hava Daniela Bas Naomi Hana, and a recovery from surgery, Rachel Nachama Bas.
Refuah Shleima.
Omer Ben Tali, Rachel Batzion Bas Devora, Zachariah Dav Ben Ilana, Nachman Ben Rachel.
Refuah Shleima B'Korev Mamash.
Amen.
Menachem Yehuda Nisan Ben Rezel Tivya, and Dina Koka Bat Yehudit.
Refuah Shleima.
And Menachem Yehuda Nisan Ben Rezel Tivya.
Refuah Shleima B'Korev. Lessons in Tanya. Where are we? Yeah, page 496, the bottom page 496. And look at the Amorim. We are page, where are we? 18. Page Memches, kind of smack in the middle. The line begins, Yedeha, the blood vessels. Okay, by the way, today I'm doing 2 classes, 2 days, because I won't be here tomorrow. Unfortunately, I have a Levaya to go to in Connecticut, and I have to leave kind of early. So we will do Ramirez Hashem today and tomorrow. Today. And Sunday, we'll pick up, etc. All right? Today. Yeah. So we said when the whole generality of Jewish souls fulfills the mitzvahs savta v'chibor, connection with Hashem, all of which, well, 99% of them, I'm just saying, rhetorically, 99% of them have to do with physical things. In other words, when we utilize our physicality, our bodies, which have been given us for the purpose of doing the mitzvahs, So then all of the spirit of negativity that exists in the world and has existed in the world since the Chet Eitzadas will be over, will be destroyed, elevated, different words, and the glory of Hashem will be visible to fleshly eyes. Now we'll go inside. Find the place. Key. Because Klalas Yisrael, the whole generality of the Jewish people, now it means two things here. One, all of us, each and every one of us as a koilel, as we include each other, which is the root of the capability of Avis Yisrael, and that there's a place where all of us originate from, which is also called Klalas Yisrael, which is Malchus of Atzilus, the lowest level of the highest world. So when Klalas Yisrael, Shehem Shishim Riben Neshamas, which are 600,000 neshamas, pratyas, 600,000 specific neshamas, Hem Kalulis Hachayas Shel Klalas Ha'olam, which they are the klalus of the whole generality of we are, our souls taken together are the Klalas Hachayas Shel Klalas Ha'olam. They are the entirety, on the generality of all the life force of all the worlds. Ki b'shvilam nivra, because for their sake, for the sake of the descent of the chelak elokah mimal, or chalakim, the pieces of God, so to speak, from above, which are the individuations of the general spark, which is the neshama of all Jews, which is the Shekhinah. When that comes down below, and that is the purpose of the creation of the neshamas, is not, as you're about to say, not for the experience of godliness and the sublimity and beauty and peace and all the good things that go with that, not for that, but rather for the rectification of the world, as we're really about to say. So, keep before this, what I'm saying is, when we come across an expression like this, for their sake the worlds were created, a naive person might say, this might be the source of great pride. And I mean in an egotistical way. The world was created for me. Thank you. The way to take this, there is that side. We have to have Jewish pride, but not in that sense of haughtiness and arrogance and feeling superior to everyone else. On the contrary, we have been created for the mission of being the hands and feet, the day workers of God's plan to bring the world to the Geula state, which is the higher state than was revealed in the creation at the beginning of time. That's what we were created for. Bishvilam nivra ha'olam. It says, for my sake, the world is created. It says that since the Jewish people have been in exile, the garden has no gardener. That's an expression from a few of the memoirs I've learned, but I can't tell you where. The gardener is missing the garden is missing the gardener. So we are, in that metaphor, we're created here to tend the garden. And we've been scattered all over the world for the purpose of a toisvis alehem geirim, to bring back the sparks that have fallen from olamatu tehu and have become metaphorically strange to Elikus, geirim, and bring them back, the toisvis alehem geirim, to gather up all the sparks. And as the Megillah says, when Haman goes to Achashverosh, to one of the complaints he says, but it's really, you have to see the positive. He says, there's one nation which is scattered here amongst, they don't behave like everybody else. That's right, we don't, because we have a specific mission. We are one nation, i.e., we are part and parcel of the Yechidah Shel Olam, the singularity of the world, the oneness of God, that has been scattered like seeds into the soil in order to bring out the highest, the life force, the beauty, the flowers, the produce, etc., that's hidden in the soil. That's the purpose for which we've been created. Ki bishvilam nivra ha'olam. For our sake, the world has been created. Back inside. V'chein likewise, parat mehem Prat mehem hu koilel v'shayach v'shayach. Yeah, loy hachaya shel chelet echad mishishim riboy. Each person has some piece of the piece, right? The soul itself is a chelek elakah. It's something that derives from and becomes differentiated from atzmus, which has no parts whatsoever, and it becomes differentiated into that treasure house of all stores is in Malchus of Atzilus, and then the part of the parts would be each of one of us has a part of the parts. The whole prat mehem, each and every detail, who koilel is all inclusive. The shayach le'achaya shel chelet echad, and each detail koilel includes and contains the shayach le, and is relevant to it. Chaya shel chelet echad meshishim ribe meklalas ha'olam, is each and every one of us have some piece of responsibility and capability that our particular part of the Elokah Mamish has been designed for, to be able to accomplish the mission. Each and every one of us have a one piece of the 600,000 generalities of all the souls together. Atolyu benafshi hakayunis, and to achieve the mission, to succeed in the mission, depends depends on the body with its enlivening soul. So here, the body is a klik shoresh. It's a servant. It's a vessel of servitude to Hashem, and it's been invested with the power in it to do so, which is the power of the nefesh hachiyunis, the enlivening soul, for the purpose of la'aloisei Hashem, to take all the sparks that have fallen from the olam hatohu and got buried and scattered in this world, and to rectify them, bring them back to their source, la'aloisei Hashem, to elevate them to Hashem, as we elevate each and every one of us that part of the world which has been given to us to elevate. The Hainu, meaning, he says now very clearly, what's it all mean? Each and every one of us have been given a chelik of a chelik of a chelik elakah, in order to rectify a chelik of a chelik of a chelik of the sparks that have fallen down here below. The Hainu, through, how do we do that? To that which we use out, the things of this world, for the necessities of our body and our soul, and nefesh hachiyunis, for the necessities of our body and our enlivening soul, le'avodas Hashem, to do the things which Hashem asked us to do, the commandments that have to do with the body, as the nefesh hachiyunis is invested in. Higayin, for instance, simple things, achila v'shtia, eating and drinking, v'damehem, and things similar to that. Vedira, and your home, making your home literally a dwelling place for Hashem, a mikdash ma'at, a beis hamikdash, a small beis hamikdash. They're called clearly hatashmishin, and all the vessels that you use. That's what we're saying. Every piece of food, everything you drink, every article in your house, and the house itself, and all the tashmishim, all the pots and pans, using them out for mitzvahs. That's what our body and the enlivening force that's in it has been created for. Ella, Shishim Ribin Hashamas, it's just that the 600,000 souls, pratyas, specific of the 600,000 souls, Elo, these specific 600,000 souls, and Shorshim, their roots. In other words, this number 600,000 is not the total amount of souls. There are many more souls. Many more Jews have been in the world than 600,000. They're the root souls, 600,000. They're called shoresh, and each root, right? Think of a root coming out of each root, there are 600,000 roots, and at the bottom of this organism, which Malchus of Atzilus is sort of the head, the clump from which all the roots come out. Each root, they're called shoresh, mischalak l'shishim ribay netzitzos. Each root is divided up into 600,000 sparks. So there's 600,000 times 600,000. That's just the beginning of the devolution and spreading out of souls. Shechol nitzutz, each and every spark, hu neshama achas. Each and every spark is a soul. We are each a spark of Hashem, and that is the soul that we have. V'chein, that's the nefesh, that's the neshama. V'chein, also the lower parts of the soul, the nefesh and the ruach, is the soul, the nefesh and the spirit, b'chol olam, in each and every world. Me'arba olamas, of the four worlds. Atzilus, Bri, Yetzirah, Inusia. Each one of those worlds gets a piece of a certain spark, a certain level of the levels of the souls are invested in each and every world, and invested in each and every emanated being or creatures in each of those worlds. And there's a devolvement downward, 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 where the tachlis, the whole point of it, is the ultimate downward devolution into souls invested in bodies, doing mitzvahs down here below with dirt, food, etc. And each and every spark did not come down to this world, even though it's a very big descent, and we've been sent into Galus, right? It says that we were exiled to Rome. The whole purpose of exile, that's the expression I meant before. I said before, to bring back the strangers. We were exiled at the beginning of that Maimar Zal. We were exiled to Rome in order to do that. We've been put in Galus for that, to redeem the Galus. Because even if that spark of soul were to come down into a tzaddik gomer, a complete person, who's Ovda Hashem b'yirah v'ava, who serves Hashem with love and with fear and love, Rabba, b'tainugim, with great delight, no matter how much delight, right? A tzaddik, and that tzaddik that's within ourselves has a capacity, as we've spoken about a lot earlier, to, if not with our fleshly eyes, but with our mind's eye and spiritual eye, to see godliness and have the pleasure of seeing godliness. But that pleasure, that tainugim, even if it's a pleasure of the tzaddik gomer, who has great tainugim in olam hazeh and great vision, he can't have achieved the level of a revelation that belongs to the soul before it comes down into the body. So every descent into the body, his point is, even in a tzaddik gomer, is a descent and a narrowing and a blocking out and a darkening and a gullusing of the neshama. It's being covered up, put into gullus. So it's coming down. Even the tzaddik soul is coming down into olam hazeh, which is thick, chumrious, coarse, and you can't compare. There's nothing. You can't compare anything down here below. Now, even the revelation that the tzaddik has down here, as long as he's in a body, to the kind of revelation that goes up there. So it isn't about the revelation. There's no comparison whatsoever. As is known, the kol maskil, that to everyone who understands anything, shehaguf enu yachol lispol. The reason that there can't be any revelation down here the way there is up there, because the body would not be able to take it. The body, as we've used this much, will be like you can't stare at the sun directly. You need a filter, a sunglass. So that filter becomes very thick in order to deal with things down here below. Because if flesh and blood right now were to see the revelation, if the sun were to come down here on planet Earth, it would burn up everything. So there's a it's a godly operation here, a godly plan, a godly project to cover things and cover till you get down here and have physicality, because this thick world is the place where all those sparks fell from Olam HaTohu, and they're crying out to be released. So this our coming down, the Olam Hazeh, Slavish Beguf and Nefesh, on the top of 96, by the way. This coming down to Olam Hazeh, Slavish Beguf, to be enclosed in a body, Benefesh HaChayunis, an enlivening soul, who is Hidela Saknom, Bilvad, is to fix everything, is to rectify, to heal the brokenness, to reveal the light from the darkness, to fix everything. And to take those sparks, those strangers, those gerim, which are in the exile, in a state of exile, and bring them back. To separate them from the evil, shall show us klippus of the three unclean powers. Al yedei, how? through Shmiras Yasal Lo Yaseh, through doing the 365 negative commandments, and their branches, and to lift up, elevate the enlivening soul, im chelka, with the part of the world that each of one of us has been given, the part of the world hashayach loy, which is relevant to it, miklalus olam hazeh, from all the entirety of all this world. Each one of us has a chelik in it, which is our chelik. Wherever we are, we're meant to be here to do what Hashem wants with that particular piece of the world. And to unite all the pieces, put all the pieces of Humpty Dumpty together again. That's what we've been put down here to do, to bring them back together, into the infinite light, the light of the infinite one, blessed be He, which the light of the infinite has been invested in them, and we are here to reveal that light, break open the shell and reveal that light. Through fulfilling the 365 negative, and kol ramach mitzvahs aseh, as well as the 248 positives. And we do that b'nafshei hachayunis, we are enlivened, which are with our enlivening soul, which is enclosed in the body. Shehihi hamakayim kol mitzvahs ma'asos. It's that enlivening soul invested in the body, which is doing the work that Hashem has appointed to it as the work that needs to be done for the sake of God Himself, to reveal what has been hidden since the time of the Eitz Hadas, through this adherence to performance of mitzvahs in the physical body, as we said above. And is written in Eitz Chaim from the Rizal, because in the neshama itself, the godly soul, it doesn't need to be fixed. It's godly. But that godly energy needs to be applied to what does need to be fixed, the gullus. There's no need for the godly soul. In other words, if it's about revelation, right? If it's about feeling of achdus, there's no point in putting the soul down here, because you're putting the soul in a place which is going to have just the opposite experience. So it's not down here for that sake. The godly soul, it's not necessary for the godly soul to be enclosed in this world, only for the purpose of lahamshik or lasaknam, in order to draw down godly light, to fix everything. And this that we've said in all these words, in a few words, is what is the analogy of the secret of this is the sod of the gullus of Shekhinah. What we've just said is the secret of the exile of the Shekhinah. What it is, levaron etzotzin, to clarify, rectify, free all the sparks, so that the Geula will be front and center in a way that, and in the revelation of light, as I keep saying this is something that is in Chassidus, and I find it very astounding, in a way that is a deeper, higher light than it ever existed, even before the Eitz Hadas. So that's that's today and Friday. It's a big responsibility and a big capability. I said Hashem never asks more than you can achieve. So when you think about it, just saying a bracha on a piece of fruit is part of that. Okay, any comments, questions?
I was just going to say that I was noticing a parallel between the Jewish people going out to Gullus and gathering gerim, and the neshama going out to the physical world and gathering sparks. And when you say gathering sparks, like, because it is a big gullus to be in a body and be blind to godliness. It's like sending us out to Gullus.
Yeah, he does. He sends us out to Gullus. That's what he does. Geula Edom. Yeah, I'm just afraid that's the main result. Geula Edom. We were exiled to Rome. Rome, of course, is the also the metaphor for the entirety of this last long phase of Gullus. The purpose of being exiled to Rome is to add to yourself the gerim, the sparks that have been, blessed.
Adam is also like this world, this physical world, right?
Well, it is this physical world, yeah. But there are various forms of the various different characteristics to different states of exile in this world, right? There's Gullus Mitzrayim, there's Gullus Bavel, and there's Gullus Edom. Each of them has their characteristics, and one of the characteristics that I think that we can easily associate with Edom, for instance, Mitzrayim was the master of black magic and spiritual dark other side, which is a temptation that people have to this day. It was very rampant in the 60s to just go find anything that felt like enlightenment, that felt like ecstasy, whether it was chemical or spiritual. Okay, Edom, as is explained a lot in the Sichos of the Rebbe, is, if in one word, it's technology. They brought road building, bridge building, right? And you could look at least one facet, the fascination.
Wasn't that Rome? Wasn't that Rome?
That's Rome.
Oh.
That's Rome. That is Rome. That's Rome. I'm
I thought
explaining
that Rome was Bavel.
No, Bavel is Babylon. Rome is Gullus. Bavel is a different Bavel.
Okay.
Bavel is all about confusion. I mean, all of these are applicable, but they have different characteristics, right? Mitzrayim about dark spirituality, really big dark spirituality. Paroi, the greatest light of dark spirituality that ever existed. Bavel is about confusion. Language is all mixed up. Everybody's confused. Rome is about, and I'm just short words that are in Chassidus. I like to tell you when I'm saying things on my own and when I'm saying things that I've learned. This I have learned. And Edom is technology, road building, bridge building. They invented the catapult. That's how they conquered the Beis Hamikdash, with the catapult. And one facet we see in our age today is the internet and artificial intelligence. We have technological experiences of each other rather than physical, in the flesh experiences of each other. We're seeing images, electronic images, and we have this big hope. Not I don't, but the culture has this big hope about artificial intelligence, and there is a positivity to that. It's one way, and other people other than I have said this, that it's one way envisioning how it is that in the future all the work will be done, and as the Rambam says, this whole occupation of humanity will be to study God, because there will be robots and etc. But the hope of artificial intelligence is really beyond that, a real perverse notion of artificial intelligence. So without harping on that, that's the Gullus Edom. So the sparks are buried, right, in different ways, and there's a different avoida in each of the different Gullios. But the last Gullus is to get all the sparks back, to take all the gerim out of Gullus Edom. Who was Edom? Edom was one of the Edomite kings that fell in the breaking of the vessels. So we have to bring him out.
Just to clarify, Gullus Bavel, you're saying that it's the Babylonian tower, like Dor HaFlaga, like from the Dor HaFlaga?
Yeah. And then that was a big, and still remains a big exile. I can reach God. I can get to the heavens. I mean, there are a lot of facets to that. Confusion, chaos.
Wasn't that the time? I feel like, I guess I really don't know my history, but I guess Rabbi Akiva was in time of the Romans, right?
Europe, yes.
And
yes.
so, but in davening we say Bavel, like that's the regular normal Gullus that everybody refers to. In Bavel or
by the rivers of Babylon. That's one of them.
Yikum Porkan min Shemaya.
Yeah.
Okay, let me open it up. It
I
says
mean, but what's the problem? Yes, bubble is one. Yeah,
that bubble is like synonymous with Gullus.
it is. But so is
But
Mitzrayim synonymous with Gullus. Gullus Mitzrayim you hear all the time, right?
yeah,
They're all Gullus, but they're with different characteristics. David HaMelech by the rivers of Babylon.
you're saying
Right.
either Yisrael here. It says Di v'ara de Yisrael v'di b'Vavel. It's like
Yeah, but that's because that's Zohar is reverencing the two academies of the oral Torah which existed, one in Eretz Yisrael and one in Bavel. We have a Talmud Bavli.
right. So Bavli or Yerushalmi. Those are the two categories. Either you're in Yisrael or you're in Gullus.
Those are not the two categories of Gullus. There are more than two. But yes, you're right. You're either in an exile or you're in a Geula. But the exiles have different characteristics. That's all. Talmud Bavli. The whole purpose of Talmud Bavli is to rectify the confusion. That's why it's called Bavli. I mean, it's called Bavli because it emerged in Babylon, in that exile. And that exile, rectification of Babylon, is primarily the rectification of speech and thought.
But Babylon happened, but when they were building a tower, the people in the Talmud Bavli came way later.
I'm not. I mean, we could take this offline. Don't get what your confusion is.
My confusion is that the Tower of Babel was after Dor Hamabel, after the big flood. There was the second.
It was early.
Tower of Babel.
It was very early, right?
It was like in the 5 books, in like Bereshis, in like Noach or something.
Yeah, right. It was an early exile, yes.
And so you're telling me that early exile, way back in like beginning of the world, basically, is the same one that we're talking about.
When we talk about Bavel, when we talk, yes, Talmud Bavli was a rectification of that tower because it rectified, it clarified, like Birur also means clarify, right? To mevara, to clarify. It took the written Torah, and it clarified what God meant so that there would be no confusion, leading ultimately to the Shulchan Aruch, which makes everything clear instead of being in a state of Bavel, confusion, in a state of clarity. That the Talmud is one of the hugest rectifications and salvations of the sparks that exist. Kayla, I mean, if there's more, we could talk about it offline. Kayla, you're there.
Yes, it just struck me when you were saying, you mentioned Ahavat Yisrael, which I'm not sure if I'm quoting correctly, but like, isn't the purpose of the descent into this world because we're one, when we're up above. But it struck me that, no, really, now we have this obstacle of the body that's blocking us from Ahavat Yisrael and feeling like one. So really not arguing with the point, just saying another point that really it's a great purpose of being here is to have this feeling of oneness and Ahavas Yisrael while we're being blocked by being separated into bodies and scattered.
Yeah, I hear you. I just put a little different slant on it. That yes, the body blocks, right? The body is a condensation of Elokus into stuffing we can touch and feel, but as a result of which it doesn't automatically shine with godliness. But that's the first part, right? So the ultimate resurrection, re-bringing back to life of that ultimate, of the light which exists in the first place, the ultimate of it is to break through that concealment that the body gives and utilize the body as a vehicle for manifesting godliness rather than concealing godliness. So it's exactly. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, exactly. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, by the way, I mean, in regard to the thing with Elisheva, when I'm talking, feel free to use the WhatsApp or any other vehicle if you want to continue, or even a phone call. if you want to clarify or talk more about any of these topics. But I mean, as you can obviously see, one of the reasons I like this particular class and wanted to do it is for the purpose of the conversations and the light that each one of us has to have. I kind of look at each one of us on this call and in the WhatsApp as just cutting another facet and bringing more light to the table. So feel free. Therefore, since, come on, since we all have been given Baruch Hashem, a guf gashmi that is healthy enough to bring us to the table here, to learn, to talk, and to do whatever we have to do in the world, we need to do it with a consciousness that everything we touch is part of a holy mission that only we, the Jewish people as a whole, and we individually, that only we can do. We're put in this place to touch a piece of the physical world and make it spark and make it shine. And with that, I think we can go and manifest that today. So not tomorrow. Amir Hashem will see you, Amir Hashem, again on Sunday. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Great, thanks.